march with grit, we grind with soul. Every yard we gain, we're in control. Aggie spirit, it's a diamond glow. A&M forever, let the world know. Step back, feel the Aggie heat. Tougher than the Texas beat. We rise, we shine, we never retreat. Cover Aggies, we don't quit. Heart so big, can't counterfeit. Fighting Texas, we legit. Dig 'em Aggies, this is it.
Months ago, we sat in a room together and we talked about this moment. That when you get into this moment, you can't just want it. You've got to pay a price to earn it. You've got to pay a price to get on this stage. When you walk down the tunnel, think about everything you've done to prepare for this moment. They have not done what you have done. They are not ready to take this thing where you're willing to take it. Your togetherness is better, your effort is better, your culture is better, so put it on display for 3.5 hours and go get it.
Howdy, Aggs. Welcome into the Aggie Audible. I am your host, Lee Hillis, and you see by the title, the Aggies go into Columbia, Missouri, and win big. But we also return home this week to face the South Carolina Chickens. But let's bring in our counterpart, the Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2022, Kyle Lovingood.
Gig 'em. Hey, how about that 9-0?
Sheesh.
It's good stuff.
But I did just lay eyes on our injury report.
Yeah, I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
Who they got? You talking about Mario Craver?
Yeah, and Scooby.
Yeah, Scooby doubtful. Mario Craver questionable. Yeah.
Which is kind of like defeating because Craver is one of the biggest parts of our offense.
That is true, but against South Carolina, if he needs to rest, let him rest, in my opinion, because we'll need him later this year.
In like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks. But the Aggies go into CoMo and win. It was like, what, 38-17, which you called?
Yes. Hey, second game this year, I've gotten the score right. Yeah, it was a fun game to watch.
And I'm sitting here thinking that Aggies could have put up more points than just that 38.
Yeah, especially right there at the very end where they just like ran it 4 times and even ran on 4th down and just let the ball turn over instead of going for an actual touchdown. They were just all about running the clock out, which I don't blame them. At that point, they had the game way under control.
So I want to pose this question to you. What would happen if 4 teams from the state of Texas make the CFP?
There'd be a lot of teams chirping. Who's the best? Who's gonna win? Blah, blah, blah. Who's the 4th one? I got Texas Tech, Texas A&M. Who's the other one?
And TU are the 3.
Well, the 3. Yes, you said 4.
But the other one, this is coming from CBS Sports, North Texas.
Oh, as the whatever
Group of 5.
Group of 5, yeah, that would be interesting.
They would call it the Texas Invitation.
Yeah, I mean it's set up. The playoffs are set up to benefit the state of Texas because Texas Tech is in their own Big 12, and then you can get multiple teams in the SEC they can get in. So yeah, it kind of worked out that way. It's interesting. I know Aggie fans don't want to see Texas Tech get into the in general into the playoffs because they don't want to see them ever again.
Well, hate it for you, but you might be seeing them.
Yeah, that's true.
Because after later in the show, I do want to go through this bracket
Okay.
because I think it'd be fun to just see what you're thinking.
Yeah, sounds good.
As far as
So what were your like initial thoughts on the Missouri game? Like watching the
well,
game and coming out of it.
I think early in the game, I was like, ugh, I do not like the way this feels
Yeah.
because it was too close. And it felt like we played, in my opinion, one of the worst games of the season in that first half.
I mean A&M. I guess that's true. And then the defense kind of helped us walk away from the first half feeling good because was it Damian Stanford came in and knocked the ball out of the quarterback's hand, Missouri's quarterback's hand,
Yep.
and then it flew right into Dalton Brooks' hands, right?
Yep.
I mean, you couldn't have written that any better if you were trying
You
to write
couldn't
the
have
story.
scripted that any better.
I mean, it almost looks fake the way the ball just like jumped to his hand. I was like, what? Okay. You know, I didn't even understand what happened the first time. I had to go watch it like 2 or 3 times to see that the ball literally went straight to the
the thing, and I'm going to say this, and you sent me a clip describing what I'm fixing to say.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Elko has a massive pair of balls because going for it on fourth down with a fake punt is like, holy cow.
And I was listening to it was either his press conference or it was the Wednesday night coaches show that they do. He was saying that they have practiced that play like 35 times and throughout the season.
They've ran through it, but like it's never came up in a game. And I'm guessing Dalton Brooks is pushing for like, hey, come on, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And then
I think it's a joint decision between him and who's 17.
Albert Regis.
Albert Regis, yeah.
Big Al.
Big Al. Yeah. And they saw South Carolina overload on the left side, and they said, this is our shot to go to the right. And they did it, and Dalton Brooks looked like a freaking stud.
And that is why he's getting a double this week from us. Defensive player and special teams player of the week.
He deserves it. He deserves all the kudos. And he got the interview at the end of the game, and you know, they asked him like, what gave you the confidence to be able to do the move of the ball as well as you did? And he was like, well, I did both ways. I was a running back. What are you talking about? I mean, I've been given.
Oh, come to find out, and I did not know this. He played 3 positions in high school.
So safety, running back, and wide receiver?
Punter.
I did not know that. Okay.
He was the punter in high school. Like, what?
Okay.
They're in Shiner, Texas.
Yeah, small school, but he balled out. Yeah. He's a heck of a player. He still got it.
But the Aggies go to Missouri and win 38-17 against the now unranked Missouri Tigers.
Yeah.
Then at number 20?
Yeah, 20. They dropped out. But okay, so here's my thing. What do you think when we talk to other fans and they come in and they say, hey, the Aggies hadn't played nobody because everybody they've beat is now on the bottom of the SEC, and you haven't played anybody in the top of the SEC. What's your argument against them?
Well, I would argue this. Who have you played? Like if you go look at Indiana, who have they played that's worth mentioning?
Right.
Outside of Texas, who has Ohio State played that's worth mentioning?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Indiana real quick. Mm-hmm. They barely win. They barely, like literally by a toe, won their game at Penn State.
Yeah, I turned that game on just in time to see the end of that game, and I was like, "What?" That was
so. Yeah. I'm gonna put this out there, and it's going along with what I saw. I think it's from CBS Sports. the top 4 for Heisman right now. Starting number 4, Marcel Reed.
Yeah.
Which it sounds little crazy. Then you have Julian Sayin from Ohio State.
Makes sense.
Then Fernando Mendoza.
Okay.
But the number 1 player for the Heisman, I'm gonna go Ty. I have to go Ty Simpson, and here's why.
Alabama.
His touchdown to interception ratio. He's got 21 touchdowns on the year. Without looking, how many interceptions do you think he has?
3, 4.
1.
Okay.
He's got 1 interception on the year, and it happened against Vanderbilt.
That's pretty impressive.
But all the other quarterbacks have between 3 and 7, or between 3 and 6.
Right. And if we're talking about Marcel Reed for Heisman, you know the chance trend that's been going around, where I'm hoping that we're going to be yelling Marcel Reed a lot this Saturday at Kyle Field. I'm going to be hoping to join in and be loud for him. Get everybody excited. Get the game. Get the mojo. Get the excitement in the air.
Mojo?
Yeah.
No, wait. This is not Odessa. No, this is not Odessa. Stop. But the Aggies going to CoMo and get a massive win over the presumed top 10 defense of Missouri. Missouri did not look like a top 10 defense.
Well, they played the first half. They played like it.
And
they
what
gave
about
A&M a fit.
What about Ahmad Hardy?
He's a good running back. He runs tough. Even their other running back, their second running back, he runs tough too. They both run tough. I was watching the highlights, or not really. I was watching the whole game today, and they both run hard. And A&M, granted, A&M put themselves in a situation. I went back and watched, and either they over pursued inside and they would get pinned, and then they would just bounce outside, and that happened more than I would like to admit.
That's exactly what happened. Because I went back and watched that play a few times, and everybody crashed down.
Yep.
Leaving that backside open. And all he did was stick his foot in the ground, cut, back out.
And that happened like 2 or 3 other times where they ran inside, we crashed, and they bounced out. That happened like 2 or 3 other times. So
but they didn't go for 40. They didn't go for 40.
Well, that is true. That is true. But it's still, it was something that A&M's going to need to work on as their,
yes.
Hopefully they practice this week and going forward on trying to be in the right place.
Because this week you're facing, in my opinion, the most mobile quarterback you have faced all year in Lenore Sellers.
Yep. He struggled this year, but he's going to be.
And I'm going to say this. So we watched. So I watched Beamer's presser.
I haven't. He's entertaining, but I haven't watched any of his this year. Yeah, go ahead.
They've lost 4 in a row.
Yep.
And I had the conversation today. If we end up beating South Carolina, how hot is Shane Beamer's seat?
That is true. At least it'll warm up, and he better have a good start to next year.
I hate to say it, I think he's gone. I think he's gone after this year.
If A&M wins, or if he,
I think if they lose out,
they'll lose out. Okay, well, yeah, that makes a little more sense. Yeah, if they
lose,
or if they
lose 2 of their final 3, I think he's gone.
Well, they play Coastal Carolina and Clemson, so yeah. You might be right.
Because I think Clemson is still decently good enough to beat South Carolina.
Yeah, and I'll get into. I have a couple of things for South Carolina game, but we'll save that for the the back half of this pod.
So A&M went to Missouri, won. Marcel Reed, 20 of 29, 221, 2 touchdowns, and he was sacked one time.
Yep.
Reuben Owens, 13 for 102 and 2 touchdowns, including that massive rip of, what was it, 57?
Yeah.
Where he got to the end zone and he just there and just.
Yeah, dude, that was hilarious. He got there. And
if that was not the biggest troll job ever, I don't know what is.
Yeah,
because
at that
he
point.
scores a touchdown and he just sits there and looks at the fans just.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you know you're going to win the game because there's just no way that
they can
Missouri could even score that many points. They just haven't. They don't have the offense. But
and then,
Reuben Owens was clocked as the fastest player, or at least offensive player, was at 21.5 or something miles per hour on that run.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. Yeah, he was fast.
And then you have Dalton Brooks, 1 carry for 48 yards on the fake punt.
That was a classic. I enjoyed that. I'm glad they kept that one in their pocket when they needed it because that really did give them a boost when Dalton Brooks got to run that, and then we went and scored.
And then Marcel Reed, 5 of 29. E.J. Smith, 6 for 24 and a touchdown. Mario Craver, 3 of 17. Jamarian Morrow, 9 of 15. And Casey Concepcion, 2 for 8.
Yeah, my only comment here is there's 2 comments. E.J. Smith, I really enjoy watching him run. He is a gritty. He can get those short yards. He's fun to watch.
Like his dad?
Yeah, he's fun to watch. And then I was a little disappointed in Jamarian Morrow that he didn't get more yards per run. And he just kind of seemed like he got stuck at the goal line. I think that was a product of the fact that Missouri was just bottling up the running backs, especially early on.
And then receiving, Casey Concepcion, 4 for 84 and a touchdown. Mario Craver, 6 for 59. In my opinion, the offensive player of the week, Ashton Bethel Roman, 2 for 26 and a touchdown. The reason why, that incredible catch he had.
The first one?
The slant in the end zone.
Yeah, it was a good route. He ran
and then the co-offensive player of the week has to go to number 7, Casey Concepcion.
Yeah,
that screen where he found the hole and he was gone.
That they executed that perfectly. I watched that play at least 4 or 5 times today. I just wanted to see where everybody was blocking and everything, and they just executed that one perfectly because they had him swing back underneath, and so Theo, I think, came out and blocked the wide receiver.
The reason he got so open on that and opened open field so fast is because they were blitzing. They had nothing down there.
Right, and that's why Marcel Reed, he's probably watched film and he's seen if they get into this, we need to check out to do that screen, and it was just a beautiful call all around that check.
And then you had Theo, 2 for 19. Nate Borkature, 2 for 15. Reuben Owens, 2 for 10. Amari Nyblack and Terry Bussey, both 1 for 4.
I want to make a comment on the tight ends. Watching the game as I rewatched it today, I was very impressed on how they were basically getting the tight ends to go find the open spot in the field and turn around. And they're so worried about Mario Craver and they're so worried about Casey Concepcion that they were just leaving the tight ends wide open in the middle of the field. And they used that the 4 times to those two tight ends, and they just kept dumping it to them for like 10 yards apiece, basically close for each throw. So that was good game plan.
Now to Missouri's side, Zoller, 7 for 22 for 77 yards. That's not the way to instill confidence in your young quarterback.
No, yeah, A&M made him pay for.
And then you have Roberts, 17 carries for 110 and a touchdown.
Yeah, Roberts
Ahmad
was
Hardy,
good.
13 for 109 and a touchdown.
Yep. That's probably A&M's
Coleman.
weakness right there is the run game, defending it.
Oh, yeah. Of course, we'll have the side-by-side breakdown of this game. We have one more slide between this and that breakdown. Coleman 1 for 2, and then Zollers 3 for -14. And then their top receiver 3 catches for 74. Hardy 1 for 5. Coleman 1 for 1. Roberts 1 for 1. Manning 1 for -4. And then here was that side by side. A&M had 21 first downs to Missouri 17. A&M was 50% on third down. Missouri was 5 for 13. A&M was 50% on fourth down. Missouri was 0 for 1.
Yeah.
A&M had 243 rushing yards to Missouri's 207. We had 221 yards through the air to Missouri's 77.
Yeah, that just points to how well-rounded A&M is, both passing and running. It's just impressive. They've done it week after week after week after week.
Yeah. Total yardage 464 to 284 in favor of Texas A&M. A&M had 2 sacks for 20 yards to Missouri's 1 for 4. No interceptions were thrown.
Okay, speaking of sacks real quick, A&M leads the nation at 34 sacks. They're tied for first place in the nation. They've only allowed, how many do you think they've allowed?
I'm thinking not many.
They've allowed 8. So they're first in the SEC on sacks allowed. So they've done a pretty good job there.
Yeah, that's actually a very good stat right there. Punts, 4 punts for 39.3 on average for A&M. Missouri had 5 punts on average for an average of 37.6. A&M had 8 penalties for 65. Missouri had 4 for 38. And for the first time this year, A&M has lost a fumble.
Yeah. And that was a shame because we were going to go score on that drive. It just, you felt the momentum building, and then was it Ashton Bethel Roman?
I think so.
He got it popped out from behind, basically.
And then Missouri had 3 fumbles, lost 2 of them. But A&M led with time possession, 35-42 to 24-11.
Especially in that second half when we got the lead, A&M just grinded and leaned on them and grinded and just kept that clock running.
So we do not have a video for uniform reveal this week. Because I looked and I looked and I looked and I couldn't find one.
But we know what they're wearing.
Yeah, it's a maroon out.
Maroon, yep.
At an 11 a.m. kickoff. Jeez.
Well, you can blame South Carolina for that.
For what, being hot dog water?
Yeah, they haven't been great, but that means – but we still got to respect them because they do have a very mobile quarterback.
But the Aggies play South Carolina this week. South Carolina is not a team to sleep on.
No. And you know why?
That guy right there at the very top, Lenore Sellers.
Right, and they push Bama.
To the point.
They pushed Bama. They were literally ahead 8 points with 3 minutes left to go in the game, and they let the rope slip, and Bama was able to pull it out. Yeah.
South Carolina went over the cliff.
Yeah, and So the score there was Bama 29, South Carolina 22. And so I think this could be kind of a measuring stick game a little bit for top of the SEC because Bama's undefeated, A&M's undefeated in the SEC. And so if A&M scores more points, it may not be a true because it was at home for South Carolina, but still, it could be a little bit of a measure stick game.
Hold on while I fact check that. They are undefeated in conference play. I thought they had one loss already.
They lost to Florida State.
And they've been hot since.
Yep.
So Lenore Sellers this past game against Ole Miss, 16-30, 180, 1 touchdown, 2 receptions, sacked 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
That says something about the offensive line. If he's getting sacked 6 times.
And they have injuries. They've lost a couple linemen, I think, since then. So they're really, really going to be struggling.
Yeah, I saw that on the injury report.
Yeah, it sucks when you're already struggling and then you get injuries. I mean, I just can't imagine. I think A&M's going to have a heyday. Poor offensive line.
Start leading running back 12 for 52. Fuller 4 for 11. Attaway 1 for 4. And Sellers 15 for -17 and a touchdown. -17 yards. In my opinion, 6 of those 15 came off sacks.
He must have run backwards to get that touchdown. Get 17 yards.
Leading receiver Harbor 3 for 69 and a touchdown. Rowe 4 for 45. Dingle 2 for 25. Face on 3 for 18. Fuller 2 for 11. Attaway 1 for 8. Bennett 1 for 4. So you see how far they can push you defensively.
Yep.
Ole Miss was 1 for 11 on 3rd down.
Oh, wow.
South Carolina was 3 for 13. 4th down, South Carolina 1 for 3. Ole Miss was 3 for 4. But if you look at the rushing yards for South Carolina, 50 total yards rushing.
Yeah, that's where they're weakest on offense. Yeah, they struggle.
Versus 258 for Ole Miss. 118 to Ole Miss's, or 180 to for South Carolina. Ole Miss at 159, but total yardage favors Ole Miss, 417 to 230.
Yeah.
Sellers was sacked for 51 yards, 6 times for 51. Lenore Sellers threw 2 interceptions to Trinidad Chambliss, his 1. Punts, South Carolina punted 6 times to Ole Miss's 3. South Carolina had 4 penalties for 20 yards to Ole Miss's 5 for 60. Total, there were a total of 4 fumbles, 3 for South Carolina, 1 for Ole Miss. But Ole Miss held this clock, or controlled this clock for 46 more seconds.
Yeah.
Than South Carolina did.
That just goes to show that South Carolina is going to try to play it slow and eat the clock up, whereas Ole Miss was probably trying to score, but they had them ball a majority of the plays. They probably have more plays overall than South Carolina. If I had to guess.
Didn't we have another team that was going to try to do that to us?
Yeah, which one? Remind me.
Was it Arkansas?
Oh, yep. We can.
They
play
tried
that
to
kind
go. They tried to go slow ball on us.
Yeah, but that was a high scoring affair at the end. But yeah. So here's some interesting stats real quick. I just wanted to say. So A&M's offense, they're top in the nation. So, they have 459, they're averaging 459.8 yards per game. That's 17th nationally. They're averaging 37.8 points per game, which is 12th nationally. Let's take that to South Carolina. South Carolina is averaging 294 yards, which is 127th in the nation on offense. So they're pretty far down the totem pole, and they're only averaging 19.7 points per game. So they're last in the SEC in the amount of points that they're scoring per game, which is pretty sad. And rushing, they're 129th in the nation at only 100.8 yards rushing. So that's kind of crazy. That's the kind of offense is very anemic that A&M's going against this week. So it could get really lopsided for South Carolina, is what I'm saying.
So I just found this, and it's not even dealing with our game. Georgia Tech is being played at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
Yep. Yeah, I think they agreed to that or something at the beginning of the season. I don't remember, something like that. I heard the news story come out, and it was like a big deal for some reason.
But games of the week. We're going to come back to that 12 o'clock slot. 12:45, Arkansas LSU.
Yeah.
I know there's no upset right here. Let's go with the L's up.
You want Louisiana? I mean, I could see this game being competitive, and being that LSU's defense is absolute trash, and Arkansas's offense is pretty high flying.
Electric.
So, yeah, and they have a good Arkansas. For as bad as Arkansas is, they have an NFL quarterback. I mean, it's just sad that they couldn't get any more out of it.
And I made the same today. Could Arkansas shock the SEC and get their first SEC win of the year?
They could. I mean, it's definitely possible. The only reason I'm going with LSU is because it's at LSU. If it wasn't at LSU, if it was in Fayetteville, I might go the other way. I think it's kind of a toss-up game, but I'm going with LSU because it's in Tiger Stadium.
So 1:30 from Lexington. You have Tennessee Tech and Kentucky. You went Kentucky.
Yeah, well, I think Tennessee Tech, they're probably one of the better teams that you could play. That's like a what do you call those?
FCS.
FCS, yeah. They're probably one of the better FCS teams, but they should have a big talent discrepancy. And Kentucky's been on the rise. They've played good the last couple of weeks. So being that they're improved, I don't see this even being a game.
Their only win as of late was Florida.
And they played somebody else pretty good.
They played Florida last weekend.
Yeah, they beat Florida last week. Yeah, and they beat that. Did you know Kentucky has beat Florida 3 times in a row now? That's just sad for Florida.
And I'm going to say this. Turn on the sirens, boys. I'm calling for an upset. Give me Tennessee Tech.
What?
Over the Kentucky Wildcats.
Wow. Okay.
And then you have the SEC on ABC game of the week. Number 11, Oklahoma, goes to Bryant-Denny to take on number 4 Tide.
This could be an interesting one, in my opinion. I mean, we got... Let me see. Let me pull my notes back up here. I lost them. I'm trying to look something up real quick. So, Oklahoma... I'm going with Bama in a close one, honestly, only because I think Bama's offense is slightly better. And that's the only reason. I think OU's defense could give Bama a run for their money.
I'm going to say this. Leave the siren on for this one. Give me Oklahoma over the Tide.
I mean, honestly, it would not shock me.
Because a win right here keeps Oklahoma alive in the playoff.
That's a good point. That's a real good point. I would enjoy There's two things here. I've been talking trash to Oklahoma fans, so I kind of need Bama to thrash Oklahoma a little bit.
Well,
But
if you think about this, Oklahoma beat Bama last year,
oh yeah, that's true. And
but that was at OU. So could Bama be out for revenge? Do they get the revenge? I don't think so.
Yeah, well, okay, but here we need to be Oklahoma fans this weekend, even though I kind of despise them, because Alabama needs to lose so that A&M is getting more of an insurance for getting to the SEC championship game.
That is true. 4:15 on SEC Network. New Mexico State goes to Neyland. This is a no-brainer. Give me the balls.
Yeah, I mean, it ought to be a blowout. I mean, they should be putting their third string in at the beginning of the second half.
That is true. Florida at Ole Miss.
This is going to be a sad game, in my opinion.
You're taking Ole Miss.
Is Lane Kiffin going to just whoop up on his future home school?
I don't think Kiffin's going anywhere. I think he's dug in there, Ole Miss. Because remember, there were talks of him going to Auburn before Auburn hired Hugh Freeze, and they paid him a huge lump sum to stay.
That is true, and if he were to pick one of these open jobs, where do you think he's landing? If Lane Kiffin was going to end up leaving Ole Miss, where would he go?
I would say he's probably going to the Bayou.
LSU, in that horrible mess they got going on down there, where the governor's involved and they're firing everybody. And LSU's they're down in the dumps, in my opinion.
Okay, if I had to rank them like this, let's just say Shane Beamer's gone also.
Yeah.
So you would have Florida, Ole Miss, Arkansas, and South Carolina open. I'll rank them like this. I would have South Carolina one because, in my opinion, it's the most intriguing job.
But that's not an upgrade over Ole Miss.
I would go Florida, LSU, and then Arkansas.
That's what I would do too. I think if he leaves, it would be for Florida, and I think he just lays
for me, it's either Florida or South Carolina.
Yeah, I don't see him leaving for South Carolina.
But there was a story that came out the other day. James Franklin, he's in talks with Virginia Tech right now.
Interesting. I could see him going to Arkansas. That'd be an interesting hire for Arkansas, I think.
I hate to say, who I could see being at Arkansas next year?
James Franklin.
No.
Who?
Bobby Petrino.
I don't think if he doesn't finish out with some wins here, there's no way. He better win this week.
We're gonna come back to that night game on ABC after this game right here. Mississippi State at Missouri.
This is an interesting one, in my opinion. I'll let you go first.
I'm gonna say this: give me the Dogs to go in and bite the Tigers.
To bite the Tigers. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think the only reason I'm picking Missouri is because of their strong defense and their ability to run the ball at home. And I think it gives them the edge over Mississippi State. But that being said, I would not be surprised to see Mississippi State open up their offense and give Missouri a run for their money. It wouldn't surprise me. I think Mississippi State would, love to beat Missouri and get some recognition, get their second SEC win of the season. I just don't quite see it happening. I'm going with the Tigers.
So you go on the Tigers?
Yeah.
So
Sweet.
I'm gonna let you go first on this one, the Texas Georgia.
Oh my gosh. I despise Georgia just because they've been good for a little while, but I don't despise them like I despise Texas because I've hated them my whole life. So I'm going to pick Georgia, and I'm trying to be non-biased here. I'm going to pick Georgia over Texas just because they're playing in Athens, and I think Georgia forces Texas to come up, or Georgia forces Texas to make a critical mistake late in the game for Georgia to win. I still think it'll be a really close game to the very end.
So I'm gonna have a little help from somebody with this one.
Uh-oh. Hopefully not me.
No, I've got to get this loaded in. So let's go to the A&M South Carolina game. I know we're both taking the Aggies to win this game.
For sure. Best team in the SEC. Why not?
So score prediction on that game.
So for me, I'm going to take the Aggies by a mile. I just think with the 12th man rolling and roaring and chanting Marcel Reed, that the atmosphere is going to be completely leaning in A&M's favor. The 12th man is going to be excited to have A&M back at Kyle Field after being on the road
For 3
games.
weeks.
Yes, for 3 weeks. And, going to get 2 of their ranked wins on the road that nobody wants to give them credit for. I think A&M rolls in this one. I think it's going to be like South Carolina. They have a terrible offense, and I think their defense just melts because A&M's so well-rounded. I'm going 45-13, Texas A&M.
So I'm going to go Aggies also. I think it's more of a high-scoring, or not high-scoring, but like a high-scoring affair for A&M.
Okay.
I'm going to go along the same lines as you. I think A&M hangs 40+ on South Carolina to get that revenge from last year.
Yes, I forgot about that aspect. Yep.
And so I think A&M wins this game. What'd you have for South Carolina again?
I had 13.
I'm going to go the same place, but I'm going to go 42-13.
Oh, I feel like we're on The Price is Right. You're going to take a field goal over a touchdown. Not fair.
But back to Georgia and Texas. I had to get a little help from somebody with this one because they do this way better than I can.
Uh-huh. What you got?
Oh,
What's that coming down the track? It's the meat machine in the red and black. Ain't nothing finer in the land than a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan. Go dogs, go dogs.
give me Georgia.
You think it's close, or do you think Georgia
Give me
leads on
Georgia
Texas?
by 30. Give me Georgia by 30.
So 30-0.
I'm thinking it's like 38-3. 35, 38-3. I think Georgia's defense stifles what Texas has done
Yeah.
because that's how bad the hatred towards TU runs. So give me Georgia to give Texas the 3rd loss of the year and knock them out of the playoffs.
I would love nothing better than that. I think Texas,
of
just
course-
because they have talent, stays in the game till the very end.
And of course, a huge thank you to Pat McAfee for that one.
That was awesome, dude. A drunk, obnoxious Tennessee fan. Because when I went to Knoxville when A&M played there, oh my gosh, their fans they're obnoxious as can be, especially after you lose to them and you're walking out of that stadium and they celebrate your sad walk out of the stadium, basically. But yes, Georgia, please beat Texas. Not make them free fall. Woo. And then Sark will be on the hot seat.
So
because
the Texas 8-4, I think Texas finishes 8-4.
Dude, that would be hilarious. So we beat them
at the end of the year.
Georgia beats them. And they literally finish 8-4.
They beat Arkansas.
Yeah, they beat Arkansas.
So they lose.
What if Arkansas surprises them?
They lose to Georgia this week, beat Arkansas next week, and then lose to us on Black Friday.
So, do you think there's a chance that Arkansas could have some rivalry built up from the Southwest Conference and actually take Texas to the wire and almost beat them, or actually beat them? I think it's at Fayetteville too.
I think it could be close how ours was, but not as close.
Okay.
I think it's close going into the fourth quarter, and I think Texas runs away with it.
Okay. Yeah, I could kind of see that. That's probably what actually happens, but that would be funny though. Oh, it's in Austin, so yeah, they're not gonna be able to keep up.
But if you can go over to our YouTube channel, which I'll have Kyle pin it on his or have it posted on his X account. Go over there. Let's try to get into like 25 to 30 subscribers before we go play Little Brother in 2 weeks.
That would be awesome. Yeah, you show us some support, and one thing I'll say is you can get on there on YouTube and comment, and then we could interact with that comment during these shows. If you have anything you want us to, like questions to answer or anything like that, you can get on there and interact with us during these lives. So.
But Aggies, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Thanks, and giggle.
10. Let's go. Win.